Hello there, welcome to today's episode of A Day with a Farmer. Have you thought about the potential benefits you could get from just worms? This is AMA, Agriculture Made Attractive. My name is Lucy Mutungi. Today we are coming to you from Sprout Organic, where we will be taking you on a journey of how to use worms to turn waste into organic gold. Here is some good news. You can now get a 3% discount off any product that you buy from Sprout Organic, courtesy of AMA. Here's what you need to do. Use our code AMA25 for a chance to get the discount. So whether you are looking for nutrient-rich organic fertilizer for your crops, or you are looking for a soil solution for your urban farm or your kitchen garden or your balcony plants, you can now get a 3% discount from Sprout Organic, courtesy of AMA. Remember, the code is AMA25. So welcome to this episode of A Day with a Farmer, and on today's episode we have interesting insights that you don't want to miss. We are spending the day here at Sprout Organic and we will be learning all about vermiculture. If you're interested about healthy soil, organic farming, and eventually healthy food, then stay tuned in. So Michael,
Yes.
before we get into the magic of vermiculture, please tell us about Sprout Organic, how it began, what inspired it.
So I'm Michael Kanyera, managing partner at Sprout Organic. Sprout Organic started 6 years ago, and we started Sprout Organic because we have a need to solve our soil health problems. We've always been passionate about the environment and using the agroecological principles to do so. Sprout Organic is a green company in the circular economy that focuses on regenerating our soils by the use of vermicomposting. So vermicomposting is the use of red wiggler worms to break down green waste so that we can turn it into black gold. Yes.
All right, Michael, before we get into the details of the vermiculture, you said that you started Sprout Organic to fix the health problems you saw with our soil. So I'd just ask you, what is the biggest challenge or the problem you have seen with soil, the Kenyan soil, so to call it? Yeah.
So we find that over time, for instance, in the 80s, farmers used to get up to 40 bags of maize per acre.
Yeah.
But now they're getting up to 18 to 20 bags per acre. This is because of the deteriorating microbiology within our soils, because microbiology do a lot towards our soil health. They ensure that the structure of the soil is at its best and that the nutrients within the soils are broken down into a state that they're more absorbable by the plants. So the use of synthetic fertilizers and pesticides has really reduced the capabilities of our soils. So what we actually encourage people to do is put more of the organic inputs, such as these products that we produce here. That's the vermi liquid and the vermicompost, to fix our soils.
All right. So for someone who is hearing about vermiculture for the very first time, what would you say in the lamest of languages? How would you describe what vermiculture is?
Vermiculture is using red worms to actually repurpose our green waste. In Kenya, we have a very big waste problem. For instance, in the Dandora landfills, we are just dumping our waste there, and it's not converting into anything beneficial fast enough. So you find that we are polluting not only by producing excessive carbon to the environment, which is harmful to our ozone layer, but also we find that the people around that area are suffering because of the smells and the toxins, and it also goes into our water bodies, because the toxins go all the way down to the water bodies. So even when people are drawing water from boreholes, it's not as clean as it used to be. Yes.
So that is interesting. I think we recently had a case of some waste being dumped somewhere by certain people. I'm sure people saw that story. But I like what you're saying, that it doesn't have to be waste. We could convert it into something very meaningful.
Yes.
So I would want to ask you, who exactly benefits from vermiculture? What kind of a farmer who is, what should they be farming? Is it for everyone?
Vermicomposting process is beneficial to not only the farmers, but also to gardeners.
Yeah.
It's beneficial across the board. For the farmers, it will be farmers who are growing tomatoes, potatoes, bananas, even tea farmers, coffee farmers, because we find that the use of our fertilizers can be mixed with the use of the synthetic fertilizers to improve their adaptability. You find that vermicompost and vermiliquid are, the nutrients within vermicompost and vermiliquid are absorbed 100% by the plants.
Oh, wow.
And the nutrients in the synthetic fertilizers are absorbed 20% by the plant. So what we usually recommend is that they mix both the organic fertilizers and the synthetic fertilizers, so that we have 100% absorption. This will also lead to a reduced synthetic fertilizer purchase by the farmer, saving him on those costs.
Oh, interesting. I like the comparison that you've made about synthetic fertilizers and vermicompost. But I would want you to tell us, maybe, how does vermicompost compare to the regular composting that we know? Yeah.
So the regular composting that we do is usually a hot composting. Hot composting is where we cover up the waste with either bags, and it uses heat to break down the organic matter. The issue with this is that as the heat breaks down the organic matter, it releases a lot of methane. And that methane is what is actually destroying our environment. So the difference between that and the vermicomposting is a cold composting process, in that the worms break down the waste slowly, but in a cool environment where it's releasing very little methane. Yes.
All right. So Michael, kindly take us through the process of making the vermicompost and how you do it, the whole vermiculture process.
Okay.
Yeah.
So for instance, as you can see here, these are the vermi beds. And in the vermi beds, we usually use green waste to feed the worms.
Yeah.
So we would create some space, maybe burrow in, and then we put the food waste in there. And as you can see, here are our soldiers.
Yeah.
These are the guys who do the good work. So they'll break down the organic waste, and then essentially what we usually do, we also mulch. So we mulch these beds so that we can keep them cool, and it will maintain the moisture content within the vermicompost.
All right. So at what stage do I bring, you called them the soldiers, these worms, at what stage? Are they larvae? Do they hatch here, or do I bring them when they're already...
You bring them when they're already grown, and essentially you're supposed to put 1 kilogram per square foot for maximum breakdown. And they can eat up to 1 kilogram of waste per day.
Oh,
Yeah.
So 1 kilogram of the soldiers, 1 kilogram of the waste per?
Yes, per day.
Per day. You had it. There is maths to it. So for people who want to eliminate maths and make it not compulsory, we will need it here in the vermicompost. So Michael, you suggest we keep the maths?
Yeah, we keep the maths.
Oh,
it's
great.
important to us.
All right.
Yeah.
So
Because also we find that for you to make fertilizers that are very beneficial, especially to people like tomato farmers, we need more calcium in the fertilizer.
Okay.
So you'd need to add food waste that is calcium rich.
Oh.
So that you can ensure that what you're bringing out is very beneficial.
Oh, interesting. So the target that I have of the nature of the vermicompost that I want to create, that is where I intend to use it, will inform the kind of waste that I put
Yes.
here. So what are the wastes that I need to put here? Is it just anything, or will I need to be sorting out, I need this for this? What?
You can use the regular food waste from a household,
Yeah.
but you'll find you'll need different elements at times. So you'd add something like perspirum, you can add eggshells. So depending on what you're trying to achieve, you add specialized items that will increase the nutrient yield.
Oh,
Yeah.
all right, interesting. And I see you've sort of made a unique structure for the vermicompost, but I'm interested to know, is this something that I can do, say, in my homestead? What are the conditions that I need to meet for me to be able to do vermicomposting?
Essentially, you need to have a supply of manure. It can be at a neighbor's farm, or it can be your own manure, because that's how you're going to start the beds. You start it with the manure. Then you collect the green waste. That's kitchen scraps, also grass cuttings, all the green waste from your compound. You'll just be putting it in here, and they'll break it down for you. So those are the essentials for it.
All right. And what about like the weather conditions? Like I can tell this place is really cool.
Yeah.
Does that matter? Besides the mulching that I'll do to keep the vermi bed at the right temperature, do I need to consider like the surrounding, the weather?
Essentially, they can work anywhere, but we have different structures like this ones you're seeing here. We usually build this. So there are also farmers who we build this for. For instance, if you just want to produce your own vermicompost within your farm, we'll create this structure for you. We'll have shade nets that will ensure the structure is cool, and yeah, we'll just train you on how to also produce it and utilize it on your farm.
All right.
Yeah.
So back to the process here. For how long do I keep the waste? When is it time for me to let go? And I see that Sprout Organic, you have different products. You have the vermicompost and the vermiliquid. I'm interested to know, how do you end up with these two different products from this?
So essentially, it takes up to 3 months for the waste to be broken down to a state that you can now use as a fertilizer. So this top part is now what the vermicompost essentially is.
Okay.
So this is broken down. At once this was green, this was skooma, this was tomato, carrots, but this is what it's turned to. Yeah. So from this, we also do extract the vermiliquid. Yeah. So the vermiliquid and the vermicompost are both nutrient rich, both in the micronutrients and macronutrients.
Yeah.
And they also have positive bacteria or probiotics that ensure they break down the nutrients that are in the soil, making them more absorbable by the plants. Yeah.
How do you end up with the vermiliquid from this? How do you extract? What's the process of extracting?
So it's a drenching process where you water these beds, and then you continuously add that water until it leaches and it's collected. But because we are a company that sells this en masse, we have to test the product to make sure it meets the proper phytosanitary requirements. Probiotics, it also has the nutrient levels, and also that it does not have negative bacteria, because it's key so that your products don't affect other plants, that they have no negative bacteria. Yeah.
All right. So do you test the product, the vermiliquid, yourselves, or do you have to outsource someone else to do the testing?
We outsource the testing. Yeah.
All right. Finally, to the usage or me applying the vermicompost, especially to my plants, to my garden, to whatever, what are some of the factors that I need to consider in terms of the application process? How much should I apply, in what ratios to what?
So if you're going to apply the vermicompost, if you're doing it on your farm, it's advisable to do a top dressing. So you're just going to top dress over the soil, over the plants. Essentially, you can also put a handful into the soil and then you put your seedlings in. So that's why we usually recommend, if you're going to use seedlings, you're going to have a much higher success rate because of the probiotics in the vermicompost. You're actually protecting your plant from diseases, dumping off disease, root rot, and pests. Because you see, when you use this, you make your plants much stronger.
Yeah.
So we also have a product called mbegu mix. So this is where you propagate your seeds from. You use the mbegu mix to propagate your seeds, and because of the nutrients within the mbegu mix, essentially the seed has its own nutrients. So it will use that to sprout, but because it has access to instant organic nutrients, it will grow larger root systems and the plant will grow much healthier. So by the time you're transplanting it to the ground, there's a very low rejection rate, and also it doesn't suffer from transplant shock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and for a farmer who is probably wondering what kind of manure do they use for their farm? Do they go the vermicompost way? Do they go the synthetic way, or just the regular composting? What would you recommend they do? What advice would you give to someone who is considering manure for their farm?
I would recommend for smaller scale farmers to use vermicompost and vermiliquid, but for the larger scale farmers, they can use a blend. They can use a blend of the vermicompost, vermiliquid with the synthetic fertilizers, so they can cover a much larger space.
All right, so Michael, you said this is the final product. I see it does not have the mulch. So tell us about this. Is this the final product? What changes have you made to it from where we saw it in the bed to here?
So essentially, this is the final product. After it's been broken down, this is what it's been turned into. So this is very rich in humus, and you find that the probiotics within this break down the nutrients that are in the synthetic fertilizers, because you see the synthetic fertilizers, the plants only absorb 20% of what the synthetic fertilizers give them. And when you use this and you mix it with the synthetic fertilizers, the plants will be able to absorb 100%, because the probiotics here break down the nutrients to a state where the plant can easily absorb it. Yeah.
Oh, interesting. I think that explains why you said that you'd recommend a blend of this vermicompost and the synthetic manure.
Yes.
Thank you. Synthetic fertilizer, rather. So thank you so much for this. I'm curious to know, we had worms at that stage.
Yeah.
So do you still have the worms here? When I'm applying to my garden, to my farm, am I still going to see the worms?
No, we actually separate the worms from this compost, and this is essentially how the end product looks like.
Yeah. How do you separate the worms, and why is it important that you separate the worms?
You separate the worms so that we can bring them back to the beds, so they can continue working. So we just scrape from the top, and we ensure that the worms that are there continue to burrow. So once it's ready, and this is actually a new system that we've created that can be able to harvest from the bottom part. So we have it's called a continuous flow system. So we continuously harvest from the bottom of the beds, and we let the worms continue doing their work on top.
Oh, interesting. Wow. So you'll first put the compost at the top so that you sieve out the worms.
Yes.
Oh, that's great. That's interesting to know. And for someone who's probably wondering, first, please mention to us the type of worm that you use. And for a farmer watching and they're wondering, where do I get the worms? Where do I start? Where would you recommend they get the worms, and which worms do they need to use for their compost?
We use the red wiggler worms, and we actually harvest and we propagate them. So we sell 1 kilogram at 3,000 shillings. Yeah.
All right, interesting. So they can reach out to you if they are to sprout organic, if they're looking for the worms.
Certainly.
All right. And then understand you also train the farmers, do you? Maybe they've watched this, they're curious about it, and they're wondering, how do they go about it? Can they reach out to you for training?
Oh yeah, they can reach out to us. We can build for them the systems, do installation, train them on how to produce and how to harvest, and also how to use the product.
All right.
So for the vermicompost, coming from there, we ensure that it has a 20% moisture rate.
Yeah.
We keep that 20% so that the microbiology can stay alive. Yes, and then we just clean it up and we package it into these bags.
All right. So what's the shelf life of the microbiology? For how long can I keep this vermicompost while ensuring that the microbiology remains?
You can keep the compost for up to a year.
All right.
Yeah, in a cool and dry place.
All right.
And you will be sure that the microbiology and the nutrients will stay the same.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So while we were there, you explained to us how you get the vermicompost and also how you get the vermiliquid.
Yes.
But I see you also have another product here, the potting mix. Could you please tell us a little bit about this?
So the potting mix is a replacement for the regular garden soil, and it's also a byproduct of the vermicompost. So we make it in a way that it's nutrient rich. It holds up to 10 times more water than soil.
Wow.
It does not compact like soil. So if you're to pot your house plants in this, you'll find that they don't compact. Even, for instance, you take a trip and come back and you forgot to water, they'll still be alive. Yeah, and it comes readily mixed with everything, so you don't need to add manure, you don't need to add anything. You just put this into your pots and you pot your plants.
Wow, that's so interesting. You had it from Michael. If you are a struggling plant parent, a lot of us have plants in our balconies and in what, and they are not doing so well. Perhaps you should consider the Sprout Organic potting mix. It will have solved a lot of your problems, like you said, right?
Indeed.
All right.
So from the products we have, I had mentioned to you Mbegu mix.
Yeah.
It's similar to potting mix. It's just that it has a different mix. And we have a 1 kg that goes for 350 shillings.
Okay.
Yes, and then for the potting mix, we have this 25 kg.
Yeah.
This is 4,070 shillings. And this one is best for urban gardeners.
Yeah.
We have a smaller one for 15 kg at 2,700, 6 kg at 1,570. And then for the vermicompost,
Yeah.
so this vermicompost for the 20 kg is essentially packed for gardeners, but we have one for the farmers which is 50 kilograms.
Yeah.
That goes for 2,500 shillings.
Oh.
Yes. So for the vermiliquid,
Yeah.
we have the 5 liters at 2,700. We have 1 liter at 800 shillings. And then we have the 500 ml at 500 shillings.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who would benefit from vermiliquid? Who should consider purchasing vermiliquid?
So for the vermiliquid, the 5 liter is for the farmer, because 5 liters can be utilized across 1 acre.
All right.
Yes. For the smaller packages, we recommend gardeners to use them.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Just to recap, for someone who they're probably coming across this for the first time, I want to purchase. I have a farm, but what sort of products do I need to be growing for me to consider, say, using vermiliquids?
Or you can grow. It works for all organic all products, all vegetable products, fruit products, trees as well. So you can use our products for all your plants. It's just that the application rates will be different in depending on what you're growing. For instance, if you're growing trees, you'll use 1 kilogram of the vermicompost, as opposed to when you're growing vegetables, you'll just spread on the ground using top dressing.
Thank you. I like that the prices are relatively fairly priced, I would say, but you also have to tell them that these are the current prices, subject to inflation and and hopefully deflation. I do not know. So the current prices. So where can people get them if they are looking to purchase any of these products?
So you can get them on our website. That's www.sproutorganikke.com. As well, we have a shop in Lavington Corner Mall, and also we do deliveries. So we have so many farmers who usually ask for the products, and we dispatch using courier services. Yes.
All right, an important question that I forgot to ask. What would you say are the benefits of vermicomposting or vermiculture to sustainability in agriculture and also to environmental sustainability, the benefits of it?
So it's a carbon positive product, in that it holds up to 40% of organic carbon that is within our environment, within the waste. So the 40% of organic carbon
feels like we are in a class. Thank you.
The 40% of the organic carbon will be putting it back into the soil, and it will be going towards fixing our soil structure and the biodiversity within the soil. So this is also a way that some people can get carbon credits, because it's a way of removing carbon from the environment.
All right, thank you. So for people who are looking into, I think, making a few coins from carbon credits, this is something that they need to be looking out for.
Oh yes, certainly.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
This has been so insightful. There has been a lot to learn from our discussion today, and I'm curious to know where did you learn all this? Is this something you did in school? Is it self-taught? How did you learn about all this?
So we've had experts over the years who've come and facilitated our education of this. So we've done it in partnerships with some universities. We have also done our research ourselves. My partner himself has done a degree in agroeconomics. And so it's been a team. We have a team that has helped us produce this over the 6 years that we've been around.
Okay. For you yourself, do you have any background or any training in agriculture, or it's just the external knowledge that you've sourced? And I ask this for the sake of someone who has watched this and it has sparked their curiosity. They would want to learn and just gain the knowledge, not maybe by the vermicompost and the vermiliquid, but they just want to be as knowledgeable in matters vermiculture. Where do they start?
There are actually courses that you can take on vermicomposting, and in some of our universities, and also we have in some of our technical training facilities.
All right. So Michael, you've been a young person with so much you could do. How did you end up in agriculture? And doing this, what someone would consider dirty work, quote unquote, dealing with worms, wastes. How did you end up here? Was it out of interest? Was it out of training? How?
This was totally out of interest.
Wow.
Because personally I'm an environmentalist, and I have a passion to seeing that our environment is built back, and that we can be able to fix our soils and turn our waste into something that is viable.
All right, thank you. I hope more people are inspired, and to get into this, come, let's do the dirty jobs together, right?
Yes,
it's fun.
Means. Yeah, we need people to get into this so that we can be able to not only increase our food production, but also essentially we're going to save our economy if we do things like this, because we're spending less on importations of synthetic fertilizers, for instance. We'll be able to train more people, and we'll be able to create more jobs. Yes.
All right, I completely agree. I think even this is perhaps also a call out to our government. We've had, I think the affordable fertilizers has been such a big conversation. Perhaps maybe if you're watching this and you are a stakeholder in agriculture, maybe consider vermiculture. There are a lot of opportunities here, training people, and anyone who wants to join, come join us, do the dirty work, and let's make agriculture attractive. Wow, what an insightful conversation we've had here today at Sprout Organic. And truly, like you have seen from today's discussion, vermiculture is a game changer in sustainable farming. If you enjoyed today's conversation, kindly do let us know. And you have any questions, please leave them in the comment section and we will be sure to reach out to you with responses. And Michael will also be kind enough to answer to any concerns or questions that you have. That's it for today. We've truly enjoyed being in your company. My name is Lucy Mutungi. This is AMA, Agriculture Made Attractive. See you on the next episode of A Day with a Farmer.